Welcome to Aha Moments, where we spotlight powerful practices that transform classrooms. Today, we are at Pasadena Fundamental, and we are diving into instructional strategies that deliver 100% engagement, like collaboration mats, inside-outside circles, academic talk stems, and more. These high-yield strategies, rooted in the 5 essentials of effective instruction, are helping teachers activate their students' prior knowledge, foster academic discourse, and build cognitive engagement. Later, we'll share how these strategies come to life when teachers learn from each other through strategy walks. Let's jump in. All right, we are here today with our first grade teacher, Angela Berletic.
Hi.
Very glad you're here with us. And we have our kindergarten teacher, Courtney Gomes.
Hello.
Fantastic. It's great to have you both here. I want to jump right in about instructional strategies that you have tried with your students, and if you could just talk about one that you did and kind of how you used it. You want to start us off, Angela?
Sure. So the first one I tried was inside-outside circles, and I thought, oh gosh, this is going to be a hot mess with first graders. You know, they're 6. I don't think they can handle this, but they crushed it. It was amazing, and I thought I would start with sort of a funny way to hook them. And so I highly suggest, if you try inside-outside circles, do something casual and something fun to start with. So I posed the question, is a hot dog a sandwich?
It's a good one.
And my kids thought it was hilarious, and they had some very strong opinions, and they took some stances on it. And so before we started the strategy, I taught them how to do it. So we have 18 kids, so I did numbers 1 through 9 in the center. Mm-hmm. And then 10 through 18 on the outside circle. And I taught them very explicitly, the inside circle stays still, the outside moves. We did some practices. I have a little squeaker that I got from one of my dog toys. That's the perfect little move signal. And so I said, when you hear the squeak, you move to the next person. And so I posed the question, and I also taught them some sign language to go with it. So they did, nice. I agree or I disagree. And then I also threw in some talk moves. So they said, I disagree with you because, or I agree with you because. So when I posed the question, it was just an eruption of noise. That's really the only downfall, is it's just very noisy. But I mean, that kind of really speaks to like the high engagement level. Mm-hmm. They were into it. And I even had texts from parents that night saying, what were you talking about today with hot dogs? Because all my son can talk about tonight is a hot dog a sandwich or not, and asked my whole family at dinner. And so obviously it was really impactful. And then I would suggest going from there into something academic, which is what I did. So the same day I taught that with the hot dog question, then I said, okay, now that we practiced it, we're going to use a question from our reading lesson. And so then I went academic, and they nailed it.
Awesome. Very good. How'd it go with the kindergartners?
I've done the same thing with the inside-outside circle, and we start off with, part of our oral language is we have these pictures that we show the students, and it's which would you rather? Mm-hmm. So it was a picture of a fireplace and a picture of a heated blanket. Mm-hmm. So how would you rather get warm, the fireplace or the heated blanket? And I do the exact same thing. Numbers 1 through 9 are in the inside mm-hmm. circle, 10 through 18 on the outside circle. So they know now, because I've done it a few times, how they get started, and they know who rotates and which way they rotate. And of course, at first, very noisy, very messy. Yeah. But I had them do a thumbs up or thumbs down, the outside circle, and then they switched and told the other role. So it's great for them to each have a say, and also for movement. Yes. It gets them up moving and speaking, and everybody gets to say something, which is great. So
that's fantastic. Mm-hmm. So Courtney, can you tell us a little bit about another one of the strategies you've implemented?
Sure. I've also done the collaboration mats. Mm-hmm. I've done it a couple times now. The first time I did it with shapes, and I did it towards the end of our 2D shape unit. So it was more of a review, or let's see how much they know or how much they learned. Okay. So what I did was I had the mats out, and I just did numbered groups, like 1, 2, 3, 4. You go to this mat, 5, 6, 7, 8. I probably would arrange my groups a little bit differently next time, based on who the students were and who they were with. But so I drew a shape in the middle, and they had to write whatever they could in their little part on the mat about that shape. So maybe they wanted to draw, if it was a circle, maybe they drew a sun, or maybe they sounded out the word circle, or maybe they wrote no sides. So whatever they can think of that had to do with that shape. So I gave them 2 minutes on a timer, and then I told them to share for 2 minutes. And then I kind of went around and picked out some things, pointers that I saw in the groups and shared with the whole class.
So even with kindergarten, they're not all, writing at that point, right? So were you able to get all of your students engaged?
They were. Every single one was engaged, whether they just drew a picture or if they wrote words or whatever. They all had something to say. That was great.
I actually got to witness this. I was part of one of the strategy walks that saw her collaboration mats, and it was incredible because every level was able to contribute. And so, like she said, some just drew, some wrote like a whole definition. I mean, it was incredible. And so, again, with that voice and the choice, I feel like it was really powerful to see that, even at such a young age.
Yeah. And how did your collaboration mats go?
So I did mine in math, and
it's a very popular choice.
Yeah. So we had just learned a bunch of strategies for addition and subtraction, and so I posed a subtraction problem that was a very tricky one, and I think that would be maybe the only thing I would have changed was I rolled out collaboration mats with a really rigorous task.
Right.
And so I think I would have done something a little easier had I gone back and planned it again. But I was like going for it. And so I gave them a tricky subtraction problem and had them all around their mats. And their task was to solve the problem and in their portion of the collaboration mat, write as many different strategies as possible. So some wrote number lines, some did number bonds, part whole.
Tens frames.
Yeah, tens frames. Ooh, those were a little hairy, but yeah. But it was cool because just like Courtney's, I feel like everybody's at a different level, and it doesn't matter what level the child is at, they're still contributing and collaborating and sharing ideas, and they were all kind of like sitting up on their desks, like heads together, bottoms up style, and I really liked seeing that because they were bouncing ideas off each other. So
that's fantastic. So what advice would you give a teacher who wants to try one of these strategies?
I think start with something simple and then go more rigorous from there. Yeah. Hook them with something fun and simple.
Like is the hot dog a sandwich?
Exactly.
It's classic. Adults have feelings about it.
Don't be afraid to just try it. I mean, I know for me, it's hard to start new things sometimes. And I just have to say, okay, I'm going to do it. And I'll put it in my lesson plans and I just go for it.
Yes.
And sometimes it takes a little prep work. The collaboration mats take a little prep work.
Yes.
But you just have to go for it and try it.
Yeah. So what's your takeaway or kind of like your why behind bringing these strategies in?
Oh boy, it really helps the students have a say, have their own voice, and learn from each other. They work together and they can see what each other is doing and how they're doing it. And I think it's great. And the movement with the inside out circles is awesome. So there's a lot of great strategies that come from this.
Yeah. I think Courtney mentioned the movement, the 6 M's. I mean, you could throw music in there. There's so many things that you could do with these strategies to make them more engaging, more movement, more fun.
Well, I love that you brought the ASL, the sign language, in with your agree and disagree stems.
Yeah, there's so many things that you can tuck into this one strategy, which I thought was so powerful. And I feel like when you step outside your classroom, like I visited Courtney's, or I step outside my normal teaching and I try something new, and it does make you really think more about your practice in a more bold way, rather than just doing turn and talk, which is like such a snore, like I'm like, I don't want to turn and talk anymore. I want to get up, I want to move. And I think we really learned like how powerful that is to kind of step out, be bold, be brave.
Yeah,
excellent.
definitely.
Excellent. Well, thank you both so much for sharing your inspirational stories. And we're going to have you back really soon to talk more about those strategy walks.
Super. Thank you for having us.
I want to welcome our 3rd grade team from Pasadena. We have Jessica O'Brien and we have Angela Johnson with us today. How are you guys doing?
Doing well. I'm good. How are you?
Fantastic. All right, we're going to jump right in and we're going to talk about some strategies that you have learned and applied through some of the micro-professional learning we came to Pasadena. We brought academic discourse and we brought cognitive engagement. So can you just speak a little bit about what strategies you've tried in your classroom
Yeah, in my classroom, I have used the discourse stems for students to respond in small group. We have also done collaboration mats and the commit and toss strategy.
Fantastic.
And then in my classroom, we've done the collaboration mats and then the inside-outside circle.
Okay, so we're going to dive into each one of those, but Jessica, if we could stay with you, and can you tell us a little bit about what the collaboration mats are and then how you use them with your students?
So the collaboration mat is like a square mat divided amongst the number of students in your group. When I did this, it was 4, so I had 4 sections and then an inside section. I use them in a few different ways. The first time I introduced them, I used it just as like a introduction and the expectations of what I was going to do with these mats. So I asked the question of like, what was their favorite Halloween candy? All the kids were very excited to share. I showed them what their sections were going to be, and then I taught them what the inside of the circle was going to be for. And that was like a 1-sentence summary. And then I took that lesson and gave them time limits and things like that, just to kind of teach all of the expectations I was hoping that they would get with that. And then I did it for math as independent practice one day as well.
Okay, can you talk a little bit about what it looked like with content?
So for our math, we were doing multiplication. I did word problems that day. So I created, I think, like 10 different word problems. And I had all the students in different groups, and they had already learned all the expectations and how long it was. So they got 1 minute to read the problem, answer their own section of the problem, how they thought, prove their strategies that they were using, and then they had time to reflect and answer with other students.
Okay.
So then they were able to share, and they had a minute to digest that and correct each other's feedback and see if like they got the answer correct or not.
And then did they rotate?
And then I rotated the problems.
Oh,
so
excellent.
they stayed at their groups, and I just rotated all of the problems through each of the groups that they were in.
Nice. And then Angela, how was your use of the collaboration mats? Did you do a similar process?
Yeah, we used it for math. The time that I had the walkthrough was actually my introduction to my students. So I tried to think
first
through.
time?
Yeah,
Excellent.
yeah. So I tried to think through the timing and pacing for setting expectations and how long each step should take for the students. And we used it with the zero property multiplication and identity property. So we practiced in class, went through different examples of multiplying by 1 and 0, and then I asked them to come up with their thoughts on a pattern they recognized.
Okay.
And they were writing down what they thought, and it was okay if they didn't see a pattern, but then they put their ideas together to try to find the actual rule, which was my teaching goal for the day.
Excellent. So then this is just to both of you. How did your students kind of receive it? Like, what was the impact on engagement, or like how they were, processing the math, that kind of thing?
I think my kids really loved it. They had the opportunity to share their thinking, and I think it gave everybody a chance to share their thoughts, whereas in other assignments they are just turning in work to me as a teacher. I read it and I go, okay, this is how you did. They were held more accountable, and I think it pushed some kids out of their comfort zone, but also gave everybody a voice in their own way.
Nice.
And I think the environment it created in the classroom for being willing to collaborate and make mistakes and just find an answer together was really positive. My kids seemed to enjoy it.
That's great.
Yeah, my kids were very engaged that day. They all felt safe enough to show their different strategies, and they would look at each other's strategies like, oh my gosh, that was a great way that you used that, and they just were able to feed off of each other in the conversation and engage. It was amazing.
That's fantastic.
Yes, and it definitely sparked that safe environment for each other. They didn't feel nervous if they made a mistake. They were like, oh, I get it now. And so it was just a really cool experience to see with them.
Yes, safety, engagement, pushing them out of their comfort zone. I think all of those things are exactly what we're looking for, to bring in strategies. And can you tell me a little bit more about the commit and toss activity that you started?
Yeah, I actually did this one time for a science probe at the beginning of our unit.
Okay.
And students had to find the time of day where it was coolest.
Okay.
So we created a timeline on the board and laid out all of the different ideas students had for what time of day was coldest. And I had the students write down their justification of who they agreed with and why on a sticky note. And I think it was my second or third time implementing it, but I had my students turn around backwards on the carpet and toss it behind them.
Okay.
So they each had the job of finding a different sticky note. If they got their own, they didn't say anything. But they had to either justify the person's answer, saying whether they agreed, or they had to do a bit of error analysis to say, I don't agree with this, and here's my reason why. So I think it pushed them outside of their comfort zone a little bit, but made them engage further with the content. And I think it was just creative. It was a different way of doing things and having them share thinking with each other.
So with the commit and toss, names?
No.
No names.
No.
Absolutely no names.
No.
So that makes it a little bit safer.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, that's fantastic. And have you tried any of the other strategies?
I've done commit and toss, but more in like a social emotional dynamic, just like how their day was. And then, if they agreed, like we're having a great week or whatever, and sparking that conversation with each
nice.
other. Yes.
Yeah.
We've done the inside-outside circle for different math as well. Having the students rotate in between different circles and getting to be able to be with other students and multiple students at one time was very engaging with them, and they loved not always having the same partner all the time.
Excellent. Yeah. What advice would you give new teachers that are like, I want to try a commit and toss, or maybe an inside-outside circle, or the use of the collaboration mats, and they're just not sure they're ready or their kids are ready? What would you say?
I think you just have to do it. I think it may not be perfect the first time you do it, but our goal as teachers is to help our kids understand at the deepest level they possibly can. Mm-hmm. And it's so hard on your own to figure out how you're going to promote that level of thinking. So I think it is worth trying, giving it a shot. If it's not perfect, that's okay. Try again. But I think kids would be so excited by it, and just having an opportunity to work a little differently. And it also gives you a different insight as a teacher, too, to what their thinking is. And I think building that classroom community even further.
Excellent.
Yeah, I think you should just jump right in. The first time I did the inside-outside circle, it was really messy. And even my kids were like, Miss O'Brien, do you know what you're doing? And I'm like, yeah, I do. I was like, we're going to do evens on the inside and odds on the outside. But it happened to be like a gifted day, so we didn't have all of the students.
Okay.
And they happened to all be odds. So it was really hard. So I had to, pivot in there. So I tell my students that learning's messy, and it's okay to be messy, and it's okay to be chaotic. You just have to go with it and just see how it goes.
Make adjustments and move on.
Yep. Just jump in.
It works better the next time as well.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, I know I have loved hearing about your implementation of some of these really high impact strategies that you've done with your students, and I can't wait to hear more. And we're going to follow up on our next episode about the impact of strategy walks in your classroom.
Awesome.
Thank you guys. All right, we are here today with a fourth grade teacher, Rosie Sauer.
Hello.
Welcome, welcome. And we have fifth grade, representing fifth grade with Christina McCartney.
Hi.
All right, so we're going to jump right in and talk about some instructional strategies. So I know you guys have implemented some of the strategies that we have talked about during some of the trainings. We did academic discourse, we did cognitive engagement. So let's start with you, Christina. Can you tell us about one of the strategies that you've tried with your students?
I've tried the collaboration mats and inside-outside circles, and I've fallen in love with both of them, actually. The collaboration mats was probably my favorite, though.
Oh, that is fantastic. What have you tried, Rosie?
I have also been playing with the collaboration mats. Amazing. Inside-outside circles, also great. And I do a heavy-duty amount of think alouds in my room.
Oh, okay. So let's dive into that. So you guys both use the collaboration mats. How are you using them in your class?
They have been an incredible way to engage all of the students with all of the thinking on these tasks. They've been really flexible. I'm a math and science teacher, so I've been able to implement them in both of my subject areas. I specifically used it to have my students think about place value, because place value is so flexible. Math is a flexible area. So helping them hone in and share all of their thinking and reflect with each other on their thinking.
Excellent. Christina, how did you use yours?
I teach reading and writing, and I used my collaboration mat on a writing instruction. We were working on argumentative writing, and the students had already read and annotated the 3 texts, and I had them sit around and write down what they believed the 3 texts had in common.
Okay.
And then they had to have a discussion as to what the group believed the 3 texts had in common. And so it kind of led itself to a little bit of an argument right there in their collaboration mats, which prepped them for writing their central idea, their argument idea. And it also allowed for students who generally are a little lower academically to have a say and have a safe place for them to share their ideas and to share with the other students.
That's great. So in the center, is that where they came up? Did they have to come to a consensus about what the 3 were?
They had to come to a consensus about what they felt like the 3 texts had in common.
That's right.
And so they had differing ideas, and I told them their center may not be what they choose to write about or what they choose to argue, but they had to come to a consensus on what the 3 texts mostly had in common.
Yeah, that's fantastic. Rosie, so you said you do a lot of think alouds with your students.
Yes.
Can you tell us a little bit about that process?
Very important that our students are developing that metacognition that is required to get to that deeper levels of thinking, that synthesizing level of thinking. And the more that they can hear the adults modeling that very deep level of thinking, how much thinking am I actually pouring into this problem right now to get to my answer? I think it's extremely valuable. I think I've learned the most from hearing, the masters with their thinking. So we're the masters in our classroom, and we're teaching them the levels of thinking that are required to tackle these complex problems we're giving them.
So how do you feel that a Think Aloud is going to engage all of your students? So the ones that are very high to the ones that may struggle a bit more?
I do some modeling with a great question. I model that, and then we're always turning and talking, and we're practicing that immediately, whether it's with one partner or in small groups. We're using like the talking chips where they're taking accountability. They're each practicing thinking out loud with each other and how to connect it back to solving.
Excellent. All right, so you guys both talked about inside-outside circles as being a power strategy.
I use them a lot. I feel like it takes a little bit off of my shoulders. Honestly, when I do the inside-outside circles, I use them sometimes to go over homework, just to quickly go over homework, and I can quickly go around and see what they actually are learning and understanding, and kind of see where there may be some gaps quickly. I've also used it for them to share out their own poetry, so we're not like spending hours sharing out poetry, but they're able to share out poetry with their classmates in an inside-outside circle form. So it really does
I
help.
love that, because you're getting 100% of your students to actually share and engage and be not accountable in a bad way, but almost in a good way, their work. But it's not times 20 or 22 where each person's sharing out individually.
Right. And since we've used them multiple times now, the setup is so easy. Like, they know what I'm asking them to do. The first couple of times it was like, make 2 circles and look at each other. They really were like, what? But now it's super easy. I just say, hey, let's get in our inside-outside circles. One partner on the inside, one partner on the outside, and we're good.
So it took a couple times and they're good to go.
I really find that it helps them to be working and talking with different students, because we know as teachers they tend to gravitate towards the same friends. So doing the inside-outside circles really help them to talk to different people, and that is always valuable.
And we encourage the accountable talk stems with those as well. We kind of did that earlier on in the year, but now that they've used them so often, I don't even have to put out my accountable talk stem map that I give for them. They pretty much know what they're doing.
So which stems do they tend to use?
They tend to use, I agree, I respectfully disagree. Those are the ones that they lean into the most, but we practice those. I use them with the students as well, so they hear the other ones as well.
That's great. That's fantastic. What advice would you give for a teacher who wants to try Think Alouds or an inside-outside circle or even the collaboration mats?
Yes, I think the biggest piece of advice is that it does not have to be fancy. It does not, as teachers, I think we try to be innovative most of the time, and that is an incredible goal to reach for. But we need things that we can grab and go with. And the collab mat is something that is so easy to plug anything into it. It can be something that is more of a review, like if you just give them a number. Hey, what factors could equal this? Or it could be something way more in depth that you could be doing, like Mrs. McCartney described. So it doesn't have to be fancy. It doesn't have to be overthought. You can plug in something quickly. It can be on a normal piece of paper. We saw awesome examples of these really cool laminated ones, but I just printed it on a normal piece of paper, split it into 4 parts, printed it, and called it a day. So don't overthink.
Yeah.
Just pick something from your curriculum. We have an abundance of resources.
Right.
Try it out.
Excellent.
I agree. I said just look at your plan and see where can I plug this in and plug it in. You don't have to do it every day. You don't even have to do it every week. But find those things that I think are going to engage every student and give them a safe place for every student to have a voice. And it really does raise the rigor in the classroom when all of the students are having that voice. We're coming back from Thanksgiving break right now. And I was just sitting here thinking, I could have actually done like a collaboration mat with my students about what they did over break. Yeah. And it would have saved the whole, what did you do? And everybody raising their hand. It would have given them all a voice.
I love that.
And we all could have shared and then moved on with our day.
I think that's like a fantastic why, right? We're giving everyone a voice. We're getting them engaged. We're getting them accountable. Did you have any other why you should do this?
I do think that we will always have such a variety of students in our classrooms. And for example, I have a selective mute student this year, and the collaboration mats have given that child a way to share their thinking regularly, consistently, being able to show it to other people. It's so valuable to give those students who are more quiet, choose to be quiet, or more shy, that voice, that power. They feel seen, they feel heard, and it's the most important thing to include everybody.
Thank you. I think we will end this segment here. Thank you guys for sharing your aha moments with these strategies. And we'll be back shortly with a podcast on strategy walks.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks for joining us on Aha Moments. We hope these insights spark ideas for your own classroom. Next time, we'll take you inside strategy walks where teachers learn from teachers and turn great strategies into everyday practice. Until then, keep creating those aha moments.